What's up, Dean?
How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing well. I need to find that music that goes, like, like when the heavens part and the clouds part, and like at the beginning of The Simpsons.
Why don't you talk to your pastor about this?
You think any church would have me?
No, they would not.
That's right. Hey, when that guy walks in, the holy water starts boiling. They don't want him in here.
Why does he have horns and a tail?
Hey, only one horn.
One horn, and it's magical. Magical. Hey.
I want to apologize. We're 15 minutes late, and it's all Dean's fault. No, it's not. It's my fault that we're late. I had a training that just went long, so I apologize for us being a little late. So there you go. What's up, Sonny? So Dean,
Yeah.
I have a question for you, and then then you can ask me the same question if you want, or you can ask me a different question. And that question is, when it comes to copywriting, if you transport yourself back to when you really first were getting serious about writing sales copy, what is the number one thing you wish? What is the number one thing you know now that you wish you had known then?
Oh, start and figure out who my ideal client and customer was.
For real?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
You're saying what I know now.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That was pretty quick. That's why I figured I wanted to give you one that you'd be like, let me think on that. Nope. I would want to get much clearer on my ideal customer avatar and understand the importance of knowing that right up front before writing a single bit of copy instead of diving in, which is what a lot of people do. Do you want to elaborate on that, or did I just elaborate on it for you?
No, I'm fine. I could go all day on this topic.
Well, give it to me in 2 minutes.
Sure. Because we get asked when somebody says, "Hey, can you write an email? Can you write a landing page, a webinar registration page, a lead magnet page? Can you write a sales page, a video sales letter, or a webinar?" Back then, I would think, "Oh, how can I do this? How can I make this sound so cool and make them think I'm so clever that I know so that they think they know what I'm doing and that they believe it." And I would just dive right into the copy and start there. Start with the copy. And I'd be writing and writing without giving really any thought to, well, who am I writing toward? Who am I writing for? Does the audience want what I have to say, what I'm selling, what I'm giving away, what I'm teaching? Do they want any of this? Because what you're doing when you do that, you're literally, you're journaling.
Yep.
That's what you're doing.
I agree.
Yeah.
You're just writing and hoping that you might be right. You're right with a W and hoping you're right with an R. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I got an idea for a fun game. All right?
Go ahead.
It's fun. Let's ask each other questions, and everybody else can ask questions, and you only have 1 minute to answer.
Okay. All right. Good.
Would that be fun?
This is and this is a great exercise and should I say why, or you're going to teach the lesson afterward?
No, you go ahead and tell them why.
I mean, this is the whole idea behind a great hook.
Oh, yeah.
If you can give a response in 7 words and 9 words and 12 words, and I mean, brevity is, when it comes
hard.
To a hook or a headline, it's king.
It's brevity. Yeah, absolutely. But it's also difficult, at least for me, as we get older. So this would be fun. So do you have a question? And y'all ask whatever questions you want, because I just want to try this. It'd be fun. So do you have a question for me?
Yes. When you want to know who your ideal avatar is, where do you start?
So when I want to know who my ideal customer avatar is, where do I start? I start with the payoff that I'm able to provide, whatever the big honking problem is. I always start with, what problem do you solve? It's what problem do you solve? Who do you solve it for? That's the sequence. And the 5 questions I always try and ask are, what problem do you solve? Who do you solve it for? How do you solve it? What makes your solution unique? And where are you going to put a sales message in front of these people? So the very first thing before, figuring out the avatar is knowing what problem do you solve? Because the problem, then you look at, okay, who has that problem? Who has the problem, knows they has the problem, and is willing to pay for a solution. So that's my 60-second answer to that question.
Okay,
cool.
Your turn. Ask away, or we could take one from the audience.
Okay, so Carlin asked one, which would be fun to you. You ready? I'm going to ask you the question. I'm going to hit the thing. What was your most challenging sales letter to write, and why?
Oh, it's probably for a client that I recently had on several projects. It was difficult to write what they wanted was emails, a webinar, registration page, and they wanted me to read. And here's why it was the most challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It's going back to 2 things. They didn't know who their audience was, and they weren't providing me the assets that I needed, which was the research to write the stuff. So typically that's what makes, and if you're doing client work,
mm-hmm.
that's the biggest hangup. Does your client know who the audience is? And if they're depending on you and they're not asking, you're going to be in a big mess of trouble. Bingo, right there. If you're writing for this yourself, then I don't have a problem because I'm doing my research.
Cool. All right. Excelente. All right. Do you have a question? I'm not seeing any other questions. It's somebody. Come on, gang. Ask your questions. This is fun. This will be fun. We should play Pictionary one day too. That'd be fun too.
All right. Here's one. If you're not using a great tool such as funnel scripts or Fill My Webinar scripts or any one of your wizards to create copy, where would you start and how would you start? Describe briefly the process you would use to write a great hook or headline.
So the number one thing I would do would be to dig up my swipe file, which is a stack of great headlines and hooks and sales letters and emails and stuff. It's like this tall. It's real. There's a ton of stuff that I have, and I would just start flipping through, looking for examples. And if I know who my avatar is, I know what their hot buttons are, I know what their focus is, I know what their number one desire is, what their big pain that they want to avoid, outcomes, short-term, long-term, what their who they see themselves to be, who they want to be, their identity now and in the future. And then I just start plugging it in and substituting using the swipe file to give me ideas. That is exactly what I would do. And that's how copywriters have done it. The successful copywriters have done it for since people really have been writing copy.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh, you came in. Look at that.
I do what I can.
You do what you can.
All right, here we go.
Yep.
Oh, Susan's got. Well, I don't want to ask that question. I'm going to ask you another question. All right. In a minute or less, explain how you write an amazing email teaser, because you write a ton of teasers for ClickFunnels. So in a minute or less, how do you write a great email teaser?
All right. So first I'll look at what's the offer in that, what is the offer? Then typically if it's for ClickFunnels, I'll listen to like Russell's podcast if I'm writing for a podcast, and I find what the thing in there that is like, ooh, that's good. It hits me. At this time, it's instinctual. I rarely get hung up in my head about something. I don't second guess myself anymore, which is a wonderful place to be. And that just comes from doing it over and over and over again. So that's what I'll do. What is it that's going to be fresh? What is going to be something that is unique and special? Does it create curiosity? Does it create mystique? What emotion does it trigger? That's how I'll do it. And typically, if I get hung up, I'll ask a question in the subject line, because a question will always get the reader to lean in.
Nice. Good job. Now, are you seeing
Susan's?
Are you seeing any of you see the questions, right, in the
Yes.
comments? Okay, good. I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure. All right, you can ask me whatever you want.
Do you want me to ask you Susan's questions?
You can ask me whatever you want.
All right. So what is your process for finding the avatar's hot buttons, pain points if you are trying a product in a new area or a new niche?
Okay. So here's the fastest way to fail. Take a product, an unproven product, to an audience you know nothing about. That is a guaranteed failure formula. So what you got to do is figure out hot buttons, pain points, what gets people juiced. What I will do is go over to Amazon, do a search for products or whatever. I'll just do a search like I was in that audience, looking for whatever it is on the topic that I have to sell. And I start looking at the feedback in the reviews. I'm looking for the keywords that people use. I'm looking in the number 5s and I'm looking in the number 1s and the 2s and 3s for different stuff. So I look at the 5 stars to look for the hot buttons of people that are happy. I look for in the 1s for the people that are pissed off. And I look for the ones in the middle for the people who say it was okay, but it should have had this. And all of those give me the data points to get started.
Once again, you know what I've noticed, Jim, doing this little fun game here?
This is fun, by the way. This is fun.
I just said it's fun. I used that word. I said.
I know you did. I was agreeing with you emphatically.
I know. This is fun. But I noticed both of us, because we're under the gun to answer in a minute, we're talking a lot louder.
Hey, and those of you who are with us on social media, I think that this is fun. Yeah, we put the FU in fun. And also, I want to see more than just 5 little reactions. I want to see a like. I want to see a heart. I want to see, this is fun. This is cool. We're actually on to something here, my friends. Okay. So here's yours. This one's from...
There's a lot of them now.
Yeah, so... Okay, we're going to follow along, and then you can ask me Carlin's. I'm going to ask you Anna's. How does one create a new avatar for a market they are not currently serving but want to?
Okay, so I don't even know if you're creating a new avatar. You're just finding the avatar. You're just finding who it is you want to serve. So every market has competition. If there is no competition in a market, you don't have a market. That's one of the things that people think, oh, mine is so brand new. It's never been out there. And I'm going to wow the world. You're a pioneer. It's like the first person who's digging for oil that has no idea that I'm going to dig for oil and they've never heard of oil before. What good is it? You're working in a vacuum here. Let the pioneers have the arrows in their back. So find a competing market, go look at what they're doing with their sales process, look at who they're targeting, see how those ads are doing. If they're getting a lot of clicks, if they're getting a lot of business, hack it, model what they do, and find out what are they not serving, what pain and problem are they not solving, and bingo, you've got a new quote unquote avatar, and you've got a new product.
Hey, that was pretty good, Dean. Nice work. That was good. All right, so you can ask me Carlin's, or you can ask me whatever you want.
Sure.
But if you want to ask me Carlin's about how you came to know the avatar was so key or fundamental, but that's up to you.
All right, boy. Was that a lead?
No, no, we're gonna try a different one of these. All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is from Carlin. Can you tell me more of the story about how you came to know the avatar was so key and fundamental, or one pivotal experience that revealed it to you clearly?
Okay, well, I don't like this.
You don't want this question?
No. I didn't like the way this thing looks, so I was just trying to get a different timer. That's all. I'm cool with the question. All right, here we go.
There's the Times Square
okay.
ball dropping countdown.
Yeah, balls dropping. So here's the thing. You know when it really, really, really became clear to me was not in a specific instance, but it was a recurring story over and over and over and over, especially over the last 3 years, where every time we would do a critique or we would do a like Funnel Fridays where we had to write the opt-in page every single time, it always came back to was who's the target audience? Ultimately it's like, hey, is my headline any good? La, 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 la. Who's your target audience? Is my email any good? Is my subject line any good? Is this any good? Is that any good? Always came back to who's the target audience. And so I'm not a smart man, but at some point I realized that's why we need to figure out the avatar right up front.
But I know what love is.
But I know what love is, Jenny. Stupid is as stupid does. Dude, there is an amazing show on Netflix, the movies that define. Did you see the movies that made us?
Forrest Gump.
Have you seen the one on Forrest Gump?
Yep.
It's wonderful. Amazing.
You know, it was cool. So
what?
This is during my screenwriting days. I was in Hollywood at the time. Going because I was, hawking my screenplays. My agent was getting me lots of meetings. My scripts were getting me lots of meetings, and I was so the Wendy Feinerman, who is the producer, I had a meeting at Paramount with Wendy Feinerman, who is the producer of Forrest Gump. And I'm sitting in her office, and Forrest Gump wasn't done yet. And I see a book on her bookshelf in the office, and I said, "Oh my God, Forrest Gump! I read that book. What? That's like this obscure book. How did you get this book?" He goes, I bought the rights to it, and we're making a movie out of this. So we're talking about, so it got nothing to do with my work. We were talking about Forrest Gump while we're sitting in her office.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. So when I saw Wendy, I'm going, oh my God, I haven't seen you in what, 25, almost 30 years.
There you go. That's awesome. All right. We're going to do a couple more of these, but it's amazing how many of these you can get through if you're only doing a minute. That's a really cool story though, dude. I like that. I love that. Okay, I'm going to give you, I consider this a mullet because I've got my smart alecky answer to this one. But anyway, here we go. Carlin asks, so how do you get the feedback to know you are on topic with your teasers? Go.
On topic with your teasers.
Yeah.
So the easiest way is if it's a teaser, if it's an email, you look at the stats.
Exactly.
Who's opening?
Do you want me to stop? Do you want me to just stop it? I mean, that's it. That's it. You'll know. Send it to somebody.
Yeah, if you've got any decent email service provider, active campaign, constant contact, it'll tell you who's opening, who's clicking.
Right. And you break it down a little bit more. I mean, you want to analyze, the way you analyze your subject line is how many opens are you getting? And then how good is your call to action? How good your story? How good is that is going to be dictated by your click-through rate. And that's also, really two-stage.
This will happen too. I mean, I've gotten emails from people who have responded and they say, I really like this email, or this email really touched or affected me. Because when I get a wonderful email, I do that. If I'm on somebody's list, I will purposely say, I love the story that you told. This was wonderful. I love the subject line. I'll let people know.
Okay, Dean, we're done.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. All right.
Um,
Ask me one.
Let's see.
Ask me one.
Oh, here's one from Bob. What is the best way to persuade the people that are reading my copy that they need my product?
The best way to persuade them that they need your product is to tie what your product does for them to their hot buttons. So the worst way is to try and sell what it is. The good way is to sell what it does for them, but the best way is to sell them on what the product means to their life and their situation. And so most people are selling based on features. It's this tall, it's this wide, it's this heavy, it's whatever. But if you really want to sell, you got to know what their motivation is based on understanding the avatar, and then tie that to the meaning that they want, to the benefit of the benefit, to the big payoff, the payoff of the payoff. And that's where it gets into, spending more time with your family without having to travel. And then what does that mean? And what does that mean? So you got to know them better than they know themselves and tie it all to that. Okay, excellent. And again, these are questions that we can answer for an hour, but it's just fun to see how much you can do in a minute. Okay, you ready, Dean?
Yep.
Yours is, should you test more than headlines? Go.
Yes, always.
Okay, there we go. You care to elaborate?
Well, yeah, if I'm running, let's start with a Facebook ad, because typically paid media is where, or even if it's organic media, okay, is what people are going to respond to. So
Right.
The first thing you are testing is, in a Facebook ad, it's the graphic. What's capturing somebody's attention? So I'm going to test the graphic on a Facebook ad before I test the headlines. Then the next thing I'll test is the headlines. And then the next thing is the body copy. Because what happens is I'll get a control with, if I'm testing 3 different graphics for the same copy, I want to see which graphic is grabbing people's attention. Then I can get rid of the other 2. Now I can work on the headline. I'll test a few headlines. Keep the winner. Now I got a winning headline. I got a winning graphic. Now I test the body copy.
Nice. Okay. That made me think of a follow-up question I want to ask you. But okay, it's your turn to ask me something.
Okay. Ooh, I don't know if, let's see. I want to see if there's any more in here that we've missed.
Susan asked one a little further down after Bob's.
Oh, not knowing your avatar is a big mistake. But what is another huge mistake y'all see made in copywriting?
Not knowing your avatar is a big mistake, but another huge mistake that we see made in copywriting is selling based on features. It's the biggest mistake that you can make. It's what everybody does on Amazon. It makes your product a commodity. If you're selling on features, you can't also make people emotional. So if you use a story to make people emotional, and then you follow the principle of, when you're explaining what the product does, when you're creating your bullets, using feature, benefit, meaning, it blank, so you can blank, which means blank. If you follow that, and that forces you to start focusing on the payoffs, to sell what it does, not what it is, sell what it means, not what it is. If you do that, you're going to do much better. But most people, over and over and over, it's the biggest mistake that I see people make in copywriting. So,
Agreed.
Dean, I got a question for you.
Okie dokie.
And I'll hit the thing again.
I've been nervous this whole time.
Not knowing your avatar is a big mistake. But what is another huge mistake y'all see made in copywriting, Dean?
I think it goes to the first question that was asked on this, and it's starting to write without knowing who you're writing to, without knowing your ideal customer. It's a huge mistake, and I see it all the time, and not having a headline or a hook that not only is just feature based, but there's no emotion in it. Because when you say sell the meaning, what is the emotional connection that you've got with your audience? So it lacks emotion. It lacks any kind of, and I'll go back and use this word again, curiosity.
Oh yeah.
Panache,
Yeah.
pizzazz,
Yeah.
mystique, right?
Especially in the ad. Especially in the ad.
It's got to sound, is this a new opportunity? Is this fresh? I'm seeing this for the first time, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Ask me that same question again.
Oh man. Okay. Not knowing, here's a question for you, Jim. And I want to be real clear on this.
Let me be clear.
Not knowing your avatar is a big mistake. But what is another huge mistake y'all see made in copywriting?
So one of the biggest mistakes that I see made is not having the conversation continue from the ad to the landing page. And so people they have an ad that's targeted on a specific symptom or problem or desire or hot button. So the ad's about this. And then they drive people to a landing page that's like a catch-all. So for example, let's say we did an ad about how to price your house to sell in a market as a for sale by owner. And then it drives you to a page where it's about how to, the offer is how to stage your house. It's not continuing the conversation that was started in the ad. And people feel like they have to change it up. Like I can't say the same thing in the ad that I'm saying on the landing page. And I'm like, of course you want to say the same thing on the landing page you said in the ad. It lets you know they're right in the right place. Beep, beep.
That went out with like a crescendo there.
That was pretty good. All right, I got one for you.
Susan's asking some great questions.
She is.
Over again.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Can you have more than one origin story?
Yes.
Care to elaborate?
Of course you can. If you think your entire life is an origin story, how does that? What the whole point of an origin story is to connect emotionally, so that there's meaning between you and your audience. That's the point of an origin story. If you're writing to, let's say, promote a product, how did you come to know? Why did you create this product in the first place? What pain, what challenges, what issues were you having that caused you to create this product? If you're writing an email and you're telling a story, you can consider that an origin story. So how are you connecting with your audience with the point or the lesson that you want to make? Well, where did your lesson come from? What did you go through? What was your experience in connecting with the audience? That's an origin story. There's unlimited origin stories.
There you go. All right. You want to do one more each and then we'll call it? This is fun. This is actually fun. This is making it a lot of fun. You got to admit.
All right.
All right. You might have to make one up. Don't be asking me what's a big mistake. You asked me that already.
All right.
Repeating yourself.
I got one for you. Jim, how do you create a great offer stack?
How do you create a great offer stack? Number one, think about the big promise, the big problem. When we talked about what problem do you solve, who do you solve for, how do you solve it? So the number one big thing that you do is fulfill on that promise, solve that problem. So then the rest of the offer stack, what you should do is look at all of the objections that the people have about this area, and then create parts of your offer to overcome each one of those objections. So, and we get into stuff like the vehicle and the this and the that and the other. It basically comes down to come up with a list of objections. So like if I was going to create a course on how to make amazing video, the core thing would be how to make amazing video. And then it might be, I don't know what to say. Got a wizard for that. Don't know how to shoot my video. Got a quick training for that.
Nice.
That was tough to do in a minute, but that's the gist. The gist of it is all there.
We should call this back against the wall.
There you go. I like it. We could have a cool graphic up on here. We could have Nancy make a real cool graphic, and then I could have this thing setting in the middle of it. It would make it look like a real game show or something. It would actually be really cool.
Jim, are there prizes?
No. Okay. All right.
It's the thumbs up and the likes.
Yeah, I mean it's my undying adulation. So okay, we're gonna end where we started. Dean, what one thing? Don't be mentioning the avatar of the ideal customer when you do this.
Okay.
When you were getting started writing copy, what is one thing you wish you would have done more of sooner?
Well, the reason I'm writing copy is for clients, and I wish I had healthier, stronger boundaries in picking the clients that I did.
Oh.
You know, knowing not to, what I call scope creep.
Okay.
You've heard that term, scope creep? Well, here's what you're doing. Here's an assignment. And then the client will say, oh, can you do this? Can you do an extra email or two? Oh, sure, I'll do it. Have a contract, an agreement to say, here's the contract. Sure, I'm happy to do that extra email for you. Here's what the fee will be. Here's your investment. Right. I didn't relate directly to copy, but that's what came into my mind. I wish the other thing is that I've got 13 seconds left. I wish I had studied more about story and how it relates to marketing.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's something I wish I had gotten better at on purpose sooner. Kind of intrinsically, I think we did it. Story. I mean, you have to.
Yeah, and because we think it's always because when you start out, you think it's about the thing, like the feature, and it's not.
Right. Absolutely. Susan says Jim needs to answer that question too.
Because it would have made her life a lot easier.
Okay, so ask me the question. What was the question?
Jim, when you were starting out all the way back in the Paleolithic age, what's the one thing you wished you had known about copy that you knew now about copywriting?
The number one thing that I wish I had known was that I'm going to give you more than one. One, that copywriting was a learnable skill. It wasn't something magical. So therefore, if I had studied copy sooner with the intention of learning it, I would have gotten better sooner, because I was jerking around with it for like 4 years. And then I said to myself, you know what? I need to get really good at this. I need to become intentional in my study of sales copy. And that made me start looking for, as I do, what are patterns? What are formulas that I could follow? What are things that who can I learn from? What can I do? And I would have started studying direct response copy instead of spending a lot of time studying David Ogilvy, which is what I started out, but he was more advertising than direct response.
Yeah. Hey, so that's cool. Learned something about you.
So not to say that what I learned from him wasn't cool, but it wasn't as applicable as what I could have maybe been spending my time on. Does that make sense? So
absolutely.
All right.
Wow. We packed a lot into a half hour.
That was fun. We'll do this again. I liked that. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. So I hope you all enjoyed that as well. Dean, you did a great job.
You too, Jim.
Appreciate
we tested each other. The audience tested us.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. So if ESPN can do 30 and 30, we can do 10 and 10. So there you go. Everybody's saying it was a great episode and stuff. So that's awesome. All right. Well, couple things real quick. We still have a few spots left in our Copywriters Inner Circle. If you would be interested in knowing how to join our real small group, reach out. How should they let them know? We sent out emails to everybody about copywriting secrets and
check your inbox. How about we put a
can you put the
link into the comments for the sales letter?
Okay, can you do that?
Let me see. Hold on, let me go get it real quick. Okay.
You got it. So this is going to be Dean and my. We're going to do this for a year. Oh, Susan just put it in. Copywriter, Inner Circle, invitation. There you go. Thanks, Susan.
Oh, Susan, you're a champ.
Susan's awesome.
Amazing.
So, anyway, the deadline is fast approaching. So go check it out. Let us know if you'd be interested in that. It's going to be pretty amazing. You don't necessarily have to be a copywriter to be in it, but you have to be someone who sees the power of copywriting and want to apply it in your business.
And one of the things, and today's show was the perfect example of what we're going to be teaching and what we're going to be sharing in this thing, is that you, like Jim said, you don't have to be a copywriter, because we're going to show you, and we're going to show you how to think like a good and a great copywriter. And this whole episode was, it was this flashcard back and forth, all of this stuff that just comes up from experience, and answering all of these questions and having the answers to those questions. And we're still learning, because I learned a ton from Jim today, and the way he thinks, because as you could tell by the responses, we approach things in a very similar way, and often we come at things in a very different way with different perspectives. So you're getting 4 eyeballs on something instead of 2.
And if you were to cut us both in half and count the rings, you would realize that you're going to get over 115 years of experience.
That's right. Because I've got about, half of that. I've got about 65 xylem and phloem lines, and so does Jim. Xylem and phloem are the concentric rings in a tree when you cut them.
Yeah, I only have 54, not 64. Because you old as hell. Anyway, everybody have a great day. So
zing, zing.
All right, everybody, you all have fun. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for making it fun. That really was. I had a great time. Yeah. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next time on the Jim and Dean Show. Hey, you know what? I think we should leave with music. Do you want the game show music, or do you want the polka?
No, let's do the game show. This is game show. This was a game show, what we just did.
All righty.
Full fanfare.
Nice. All right. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye, everybody.